please.
Okay, we're recording, everyone.
So that had to be, they had to be, late 50s. There's no places up there, much older. Wouldn't be all like
Is everyone ready? You ready, Bruce? All right, can I have pledge allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for attending. We have some business to take care of that has to do with right after the election. I'm going to do a roll call from my left, please. Mike Bouliou. Stan Nato.
Philippine.
Larry Brown.
Mr. Baker is absent, which is okay, because he had given us notice that he was going to be in Florida on vacation this month. So, okay, so let's go. I'm going to go down as far as what the agenda has. I'm going to change it because I think we should get to the chair and so forth before we address anything else. So, first of all, obviously we have the same members. They were successful in their run to be elected. I want to congratulate both of you.
Thank you.
Now you're here for 10 years. So with that said, secondly, we have to elect a chair. Do we have anyone that's interested or a motion for anyone?
I would motion that the existing chairman retain his tenure and continue.
Do we have a second on that?
What did you say?
He motioned myself to be stage chair.
Oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. Second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Anyone discuss it or anything? Okay, take a vote from my left. Mr. Boyle?
No.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Bean?
Yes.
And the chair says to accept. Okay, now we'll take a motion for vice chair. I would like to elect Mr. Bean as vice chair. A motion for Mr. Bean. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Anyone else interested in the position? No? Okay, can I take a vote from my right, please? Mr. Brown?
I've served my time. Aye.
I figured that. Mr. Bean?
I'll abstain.
Abstain. The chair votes yes. And Mr. Bulio?
Aye.
Okay, so Mr. Bean will be the new vice chair.
Thank you.
Next in line is, I don't know if that's me or someone else. Next in line is approval of the bylaws. Per RSA, we have to, at the first meeting after an election, we have to approve or change, or we have to address the bylaws. I've given you all a copy of the bylaws. What I'd like to do tonight is to make sure we are within the law, is to vote to have the bylaws as written, and then we can readdress them at the next meeting and the meeting after, when we have a full board, if there's any changes that anyone would like to do. Does that work for everyone?
So moved.
Okay, so that's a motion.
Following what you said.
Okay, I'll say second. Any discussion?
Are there any changes in the bylaws as of last year?
Throughout the year?
No, from last year to this year, or
Not, no, that's what I'm saying, throughout the year, from last year at this
There's been no
time, we didn't
changes.
change nothing. So, like I said, I gave you a copy, but they can be changed at any time. But I think we should have a full board present to
I
represent
agree.
the bylaws.
I agree.
So with that said, I'll make a second on that. Can I have,
Aye.
Mr. Bean,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
And the chair says aye, so that's unanimous on the bylaws. I did have an alternate for tonight. Unfortunately, I received a text saying that he came home sick, he believes with the flu. And with what's happening today, I don't know if it's a flu or something else, so I suggested that he stayed home. And he didn't fight at me on it at all. So, we do not have that alternate that I worked hard to try to get for this, this meeting. So with that said, I'm gonna jump back up to public comment. Public comment has something to, anything to do with other than the case that may be heard tonight. Nothing this has to do with Mr. Cheney's case. Is a public comment on anything, and I'll repeat myself, that does not pertain to the case possibly being heard tonight. Is there any? Sir?
I just got a comment. What is the procedure for amending the bylaws so that public comment comes before decisions?
That would be a board discussion, and that's what I said, when we have a full board, Mr. Baker's back, then I do wanna bring that back up again. Out of curiosity, I don't wanna get into it too heavy, but what is it about the public comment that you don't like?
Well, it seems like every meeting we go to, the public comment comes after the entire board votes on all the issues, and then we don't have any say on whether, we don't have any input.
Okay, but as you can see tonight, that's not the case.
No, but
Right.
it has been in the past, and I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's just that's basically up to the board. They can hear public comment multiple times. What usually happens is we'll have, like I said, we'll have a public comment on anything not relative to the case to be heard, and then there'll be a second public contact that has to do with the case being heard. So there's really two bites at the apple away, but you can't really, the first one you can't enter in. I won't allow anyone to get into it, we're not into that yet. But, any other questions? All right, so with that said, next thing on the list is review and possibly approval of minutes of February 17th meeting. Has everyone, I should say, had an opportunity to read the minutes? Mr. Brown?
I will, if you talk slow, I am already on page 3.
You're already on page 3. And there's only 4 pages, so you're getting there. Okay, so with that said, does anyone have any discussion on the minutes? Mr. Bouillon?
On the last page, under other business, I found it unbecoming of the chair's statement, and I'll read it. Stan Nato commented on Mike Blue's attendance, wondering why he is running for an open spot since he hardly comes to meetings. I think it's highly inappropriate. I think borderline juvenile to have such a statement go out to the public like that.
Is the statement incorrect?
Yes.
Please tell me how.
Well, I don't think I've missed that many meetings, but I'm not gonna get into a debate with you about it. I'm talking about the statement itself. I thought it was very immature of the chair to do that.
Well, okay. I don't want to get into details either. But I take this as a very serious position. And if you're going to hold the position on this board, especially we're having a hard time finding people to sit on the board, then you should at least be here. If there's a legitimate excuse that you cannot be here, you're sick, or in Mr. Baker's case, he gave us plenty of notice, he was going on vacation. But to not make a a phone call or advise anyone you're not coming, and the board's waiting on someone, that's inappropriate.
So again, I'm not here to debate it. I'm
Okay.
just saying that it's wrong to be in the minutes.
It's not wrong at all. I made the statement, it should be in the minutes.
Well, I disagree with you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
let me redraw the lightning bolt. In times past, the chair and I had a spirited discussion, and that I made the mistake of using the phrase that I did not regard a pro forma meeting to review the minutes as a sacred obligation, and had much more fun on the beach up in Maine. The chair did not appreciate that comment.
Okay.
And as we go forward, all that is necessary is for all the i's to be crossed and the t's to be dotted, and things should go along more smoothly.
Okay. But Mr. Bulio's saying that that statement that was made by myself should be stricken from the minutes. I myself do not believe they should be stricken. They were said in a meeting, so they should be in the minutes. I have no intentions of striking them. Does any other board member believe they should be stricken from the minutes? So, I don't know if you were trying to say that as a motion. You couldn't even, I don't see a second on it, so,
I would use a smaller typeface.
well, I didn't type them up, so.
The-
Anything else?
I just have a quick question.
No, not during this part,
No, it's
okay?
pertaining to this.
But I'll let you come back and address that, because we kind of did go down this road a little bit. But when it comes to the minutes, the public's not part of the minutes. Yes, Mr. Brown?
Just one more thing. I appreciate the time and work done by all of the members on the board, and I don't want our focus on tonight's agenda to impact that. Again, I try to emphasize that I got my hand slapped. I am still, as you know from me, I am unbowed. But
Okay, well,
past is past. I'm
are you trying to say it's water under the bridge?
Yeah, milk out of the cow.
Okay. Okay, so without, unless anyone else has anything else, and I'm sure everything is, all the language is correct, because Mr. Brown would have picked up on that in a second, a New York minute, so. I'll take a motion to accept the minutes as written.
So moved.
And second? Mr. Brown?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Well, that's done. Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
if tonight's minutes could just state for the record that it is the mutual agreement of the board that attendance will go forward on a carefully noted basis with goodwill.
that's fine with me. How about you, Mr. Bean?
Aye, aye, sir.
Mr. Bouillon?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, now we're gonna get to application for appeal from administrative decision, 3 Ponds Investments, LLC, for open space subdivision, map 23, lots 40 and 44, Northeast Pond Road and Bolin Road. Who's gonna be speaking? And please, when you get up, please say your name.
Yep,
And
okay.
go-
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I need to recuse myself from this because I am also, as an alternate to the planning board, I sat in as a recusing member there.
Correct, I
And
read the
so
minutes.
I am part of
And I was gonna,
decision.
is once this gentleman got up, I was gonna, once he acknowledged
Yeah,
that it was
so-
open, the case was open, I was gonna ask you to recuse yourself.
That,
So,
in fact, my question to you would be, will we be doing more work apart from this following the end of this term?
unless somebody else has any other business in addressing this gentleman as far as what he wanted to say, probably not.
Okay, do you retain a quorum without? Yes.
We have a quorum, we don't have what I call a super quorum, so we're gonna get into that, but I would like to see you stay around if you don't mind.
Okay,
I know that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I think Bruce Woodward probably
Okay, just, what I'm saying, just please say who you are, just so everybody knows.
My name's Hunter Adams.
Hunter Adams, all right. Mr. Woodruff is the town planner, and you had something to comment?
Well, I think before, I assume you've opened the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay. it's all right for you to allow the appellant to speak, but I think you should let them know right off the bat that with 3 voting members, can't come to a decision.
Well, that was my next step.
Okay.
I just wanted to get it on record who was representing them, and it was all documented that way. So this is what, getting to that I don't like any part of this, being the chairman having to say. As Mr. Woodruff said, you have rights, and your rights normally would be, if we had 4 members here, not a full board, you could say whether or not you wanted to go forward with the case, knowing that if it was a tie at the end, you lose. In this particular case, we only have 3 members, because Mr. Brown was necessary for him to step down. We can't even make a decision on this. Like I said, I did have an alternate all lined up until about 5 o'clock this afternoon, 4:30. He was coming in. Talked to one of the selectmen about swearing him in, the whole bit. Because that would have given you 4 people. If you definitely wanted to go forward, we could have. So the ball's in your court that is really, I don't know what, we can't go farther anyway.
I don't believe so.
No. So what will happen is, the next meeting, we'll have a full board. Because we'll have an alternate. Hopefully I can find a second alternate. If anybody's listening and wants to be an alternate. You'd like to be an alternate?
Yes, I would.
That's super. At the next meeting, please come, or put a, I don't want to get out, talk to me about it afterwards, please. Anyone listening on, hopefully on YouTube, if you'd like to be an alternate, I'd love to have 3 or 4 alternates. So I hate having to say that all these people showed up for nothing, but that's, in reality, is what happened. So, when's our next meeting, Bruce? That's, Suzanne? That's the 4th Thursday,
It's Thursday in April.
yeah, in April.
Yeah, April 28th.
April 28th at 6, is that okay? You do not need to, any more fees? Everything will just, what's the word I'm looking for, Bruce? They don't need to
If the board makes a motion
which I will.
continue the public hearing to that date, then no public notice or a butters notice
That's what I'm trying
will
to
be
say.
sent out. So whoever's here, write that date down.
Okay, so, I don't know what else I can say, other than I'm sorry.
It's understandable. We would just request that at the next meeting, you try, I guess we just wanted in the record that you try your best to have 5 full
Well,
members.
Mr. Baker,
Yes,
best of my
no.
knowledge, should be back.
We just wanted it on our part.
I know,
in the record that
I
we
know,
sent, basically.
like I said, one gentleman that sent the letter into the town administrator and myself saying he wanted to be an alternate, which I had lined up for tonight, but he came home sick. And just in the case, you know, even with flu, but even if he had COVID, I don't want him in this room.
Yeah, no, it's.
You know what I mean?
understand.
So, I mean, so,
No, it's not.
you know, and I've been out calling people, hey, my next door neighbor, hey, you ever thought about being an alternate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anybody I can think of. This is something that happens with all the boards in this town. But without a doubt, I want 100%, you know, board, 5 members.
That would be appreciated.
All right? Okay? Thank you, people.
So,
You're gonna make
Yes,
a
sir.
motion.
I gotta make the
Chairman,
motion.
Before you entertain a motion to continue the public hearing, while it's still open, I want to talk about the issue of jurisdiction.
All right, please do.
It'll only take a minute. The appeal is about the planning board's interpretation of Article 6 of the zoning ordinance, which is open space developments, which gets them to their decision, which was a denial. When you read that article, the first section is called authority. I'm gonna read it, it's just a couple sentences. This section is enacted in accordance with the provisions of New Hampshire RSA 674:21, innovative land use controls, and RSA 674:16 through 20. This authority allows the planning board to grant conditional use permits, special use permits, and waivers from specific requirements of this article. Now I wanna read you a citation from the planning statute. This is 676:5, appeals to the Board of Adjustment. Roman 3, try and follow me on this one. If in the exercise of subdivision or site plan review, the planning board makes any decision or determination which is based upon the terms of the zoning ordinance or upon any construction, interpretation, or application of the zoning ordinance, which would be appealable to the Board of Adjustment if it had been made by the administrative officer, then such decision may be appealed to the Board of Adjustment under this section. So far, so good. Provided, however, that if the zoning ordinance contains an innovative land use control adopted pursuant to RSA 674:21, which delegates administration, including the granting of conditional or special use permits to the planning board, then the planning board's decision made pursuant to that delegation cannot be appealed to the Board of Adjustment, but may be appealed to the Superior Court as provided by RSA 677:15. What I'm asking the board to do is to ask town council if you do not have jurisdiction, or you do in this case. And I think that if you understood what I read here, you may see that as a viable question before you move forward at the continued public hearing date.
Any discussion from the board on this?
I think he's absolutely right.
Mr. Bean?
I would move that in accordance with the town planner's instructions that we consult with legal counsel.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So you'll make contact with town council, or should Suzanne, or who
We'll
will?
do that.
Okay. So the next step is gonna be making a motion to continue this until the next meeting, April 28th, 2022. Making that motion in a second.
Second.
Mr. Bean, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, as far as the case, that's as far as we can go tonight. On either side, anyone's thoughts, you know, I mean, you had a question, because we're on something that we just discussed.
My only question was, is the attendance in the minutes?
The lack of attendance, you mean?
Or attendance, you know, the list
Yes.
of people and,
It's in
Every minutes has who is in attendance.
all right,
And then it also states if they were absent and excused or not.
okay.
Okay?
And the minutes also reflect the.
Hang on one second, she had her hand up first.
Yeah, I had a question. You're questioning, you know, you just made a motion to question your jurisdiction. Once you find that.
We can't discuss that, that's done now. We're gonna have the attorney answer that for us,
I understand that.
all right? So I'm not gonna entertain, I don't know which way it's gonna go, so.
No, I didn't ask which way it's gonna go. I'm asking a specific question about procedure,
Okay,
okay? If you go to legal counsel and find out that you do not have jurisdiction to make a decision, will that be known to the public, or do we have to come to the next meeting to find that out?
that is something that the attorney will also advise us on.
Okay,
Because to be honest with you, I'm not sure what the protocol would be on
Okay.
that.
okay,
So that would be something we'd have to find out from the attorney, so I don't know
okay,
which way that's gonna go.
okay.
Yeah, just, the list of people, the public that attended the meeting, is that also part of your records?
That'll be in the minutes.
Thank you.
I just got one more question. This electronic sign out front seems to post all the meetings. Can we make sure that the public hearing is posted on that sign as well?
I will request it, I don't have control over that sign, this
Okay.
board doesn't. Suzanne can ask.
That sign's moving over here. It's for emergency uses mostly. It belongs to the police department. They can take it at any time. If there's a road closure, there's some sort of emergency. We're still gonna maintain the meetings on the manual sign out there.
No,
Which
it
you
just
must have seen me out there.
It just
Have you
seems
been
like
on-
always the selectmen meeting and
Yeah,
everything,
well-
when there's a major thing issue, it doesn't get put out.
Unfortunately, the manual sign too, the shrub has grown so high, you can't read half of it
I
too.
can hardly reach it.
So, yeah, the board has no control over that. We have, by law, have to post it publicly in X amount of spots,
It's on the website.
you know,
Do you check
the
that?
post
Did you
office.
decide to read the website?
So, any other questions?
Will these meeting minutes be available before the April meeting?
A draft will be available. When do you have the draft ready, Suzanne?
5 days.
In 5 days.
5 days, right? Yeah.
No,
So
we post-
a draft will be ready for 5 days. They may not be accurate,
No, I just.
all right? Then at the next meeting, we'll vote to accept them or change them or whatever, like we did tonight.
We'll have an idea of what was said if somebody wasn't here. They could read it and get a gist of it.
Correct. And the drafts go, even the drafts go up on the website, correct?
Excuse me?
The draft goes up on the website, right?
The graph?
The draft.
Oh, no, we don't put those on
You
the
don't no
website.
more? We
No,
used
we'll
to.
hang them out here.
All right, so they're the hard copy here. Okay. If that's it, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, does anyone else have any comments? Board members, comments?
Sir.
No one? Mr. Woodruff?
All set.
Mr. Brown, you still here?
Yep.
I'm still here.
No, he's not, he's reading.
He's not
Do you have any comments before we do a
Oh, here he comes.
farewell?
No, I could hear you. I look forward to the lawyer's resolution.
Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at
Second.
18:25.
Mr. Bullo, second? All in favor? Aye. And again, sorry, people, that you had to come out tonight for nothing.
So I want to talk about
An alternate?
alternate.
Yeah, just,
Just so you know this, though, I want to tell you, you would not be able to sit on this case. You would have to recuse yourself.
I know.
You can sit on any other case. You need to know that.
what you should do is put together a letter of interest and give it to Suzanne.
Can I request that the letter that our neighborhood committee sent to you be submitted to the attorney as well, so that you can see it?
And just so you know, my intentions right now is if everything goes away, I think I'm gonna read all the letters. I mean, it was mentioned to me that I don't have to, but I just think it's courteous to the people that put the effort into doing it. You know what I mean?